Mike Johnson, in the wake of Trump's State of the Union address, said something that I guess was supposed to be motivating to voters, but actually was the most devastating statement he could make to Trump possible that I don't think Trump is going to like hearing. Take a look at this.
He needs all 4 years, not just 2, to fix the mess. And that's what we need. If we lost the midterms, heaven forbid, if we lost the majority in the House, it would be the end of the Trump presidency in a real effect. So we've got to keep this going, and I think we're excited to put our candidates on the field to explain all this to the people.
Wild thing to say when you're on Trump's side. That's what Newsom has been saying. The midterms are our chance to end Trump's presidency after only 2 years effectively, because finally there'll be a check on his power if Democrats were to get the House and Senate. Mike Johnson says it, which is like the biggest don't threaten me with a good time. I think that given Trump's approval rating, you don't want to be running around in the midterms saying if you vote for Democrats, you could effectively end Trump's presidency in the midterms, because Americans are saying in polling, that's what we want. We want this presidency to be over. The strategy from Republicans should be to be like, Trump who? We don't know a Trump. We're just our own thing. That's the best approach. And he just did the opposite and told something to Trump that he definitely would not want to hear, which is your presidency could be over in a year, effectively, which is not actually true. He can do a lot of stuff. Even if Democrats have the House and Senate, they could be destructive and consequential and all that. But a pretty shocking thing for him to say, leading the headline.
I don't know anything about that.
Top MAGA lackey makes shocking admission about Trump presidency. So that's brutal. Then just the quickest pause to request that you click the subscribe button, the simplest, easiest, freest way, completely free, to support the work that we do. Right below the video, click that subscribe button. Back to the video. Another clip of Mike Johnson saying he just cannot believe that any Democrat would boycott Trump's State of the Union address.
It's shameful that they would boycott an address. We don't do that. Republicans don't do that. It doesn't matter if there's a president from the opposing party. We don't skip out. Our constituents want and need us to be here. Every member of this House represents over 750,000 people. They're disenfranchised if you're not sitting in the seat to be a part of the role and the responsibility of Congress. I think it's shameful. Republicans have a far simpler and far superior message for Americans watching at home. We're putting more money back in your pockets. We're restoring peace through strength. We're defending our border and deporting criminal illegal aliens. We're standing up for American industry and manufacturing. And we're making American workers, not foreign countries, the clear winners in this American economy. Those are not talking points. That is what we have delivered. It's called Republican results, and we are.
You delivered the opposite of all those things, but okay. So he's pouting that this is a guy who assisted in Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, meaning actually disenfranchising voters based on what they wanted to do with their vote. And he wants to say it's disenfranchising your voters to not show up to the State of the Union. Buddy, that's really a stretch. And also, Republicans would never do such a thing. Oh, community note. Just recently, GOP members boycotted President Biden's State of the Union. He's lying. Yeah, so that's another aspect where you'll have accounts like Mike Lee saying, I've been to 16 of these. I've never seen Republicans behave like this during a Democratic State of the Union. And it's Democrats shouting at Trump.
Of criminal aliens, in many cases, drug.
Saying you have killed Americans. You've never seen a Republican behave like that in a Democratic State of the Union, Mike Lee?
Kiss my ass.
You remember these two? You remember this? Liar! Okay, sure. So that's, my feeling, you might even hear in my voice, is just kind of, what do we do with this? They just say stuff and then we go, that's not true. And they're like, haha. And then we move forward. It's a very strange world that we're in. This is fun. Rick Scott, after scaring Trump by being in the audience, he then shows up with his friend. And this is an interesting tag team.
This week, joining us now, Republican Senator Rick Scott of Florida, and his guest for the speech tonight, the chairman of O'Leary Ventures and Shark Tank Judge Kevin O'Leary. Thanks to both of you.
Wow. I don't know if heaven or hell is a thing. I don't think so, with the whole hell burning forever thing. Let's say it is. I'm walking down the street, right? Splat. And then I close my eyes and I'm like, I'm dying. And then it goes dark, and I go, oh, I guess it's just going to go dark then. And then it goes do, 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 as I drop down to hell. And then this would be it. Welcome to hell. And it would be these two just smiling at me. Are you ready for us to stick forks in your eyes? So that's fun. Laura Ingraham thinks this is possibly Trump's best speech ever. Or, excuse me, one of the best State of the Unions ever.
Inflation, elevating illegal aliens over the American people. We have a rendezvous with destiny. It was a little bit Reagan-esque, especially toward the end. I think this could have been the best speech he has ever delivered, and I'm interested to see perhaps a little bump in the polls. But regardless, any historian who's writing about this presidency has to watch this speech tonight and read it carefully, because this, to me, is one of the best speeches as a State of the Union I've heard in probably 20 years. Harold.
They just say stuff. One of the best State of the Unions in 20 years. You know what she was saying at the beginning of this really bothered me, I think is more substantive. She thinks one of the reasons, which I'll play now, that this was one of the best State of the Unions in 20 years and it's Trump's best, is because he clearly delivered a decisive message on America being something special and something to be embodied. And apparently she thinks Democrats don't believe that.
The president's made his way out of there fairly quickly, Laura, and he seems to be in a very good mood. I think he looks like he feels things went really well tonight.
Yeah, I think the ending of that speech really underscores the debate we've been having in America since about 2008. Many on the left believe the idea of America is kind of played out. Globalization, globalism has really won the day. And Trump comes roaring in 2016. He says, not so fast. America is coming back. We have a destiny that we have to fulfill. We're the greatest country in the face of the earth.
So that's a part of what her context was for ultimately saying this was one of the best speeches ever, which is that Trump, as opposed to Democrats, believes that there's an American idea that isn't gone, that there's something to be sought after, that there's a unique identity, that our role in the world stage is uniquely consequential, or whatever she's saying there. And let me just remind you, this isn't a State of the Union, but she says since 2008, the left and right have been debating over whether or not America as an idea is still relevant. Remember that in 2016, this is what one of the most prominent Democrats was saying.
Senate, the 21st century is going to be the American century. Because we lead not only by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. That is the history of the journey of America. And God willing, Hillary Clinton will write the next chapter in that journey. We are America, second to none, and we own the finish line. Don't forget it. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Come on. We're America.
So we had a little bit more juice in the tank back then.
Medicare.
But that's it's not unique to actually, I think the Republican Party degrades the idea of America. But you can't do this thing where you go, our opposition just doesn't believe that America as a concept or unique principles or a destiny is a relevant idea anymore. You just made that up. You pulled that out of your rear end. I've never heard Trump speak about America like that, by the way. I'm going to start doing that after a speech, just shouting, "We're America! Come on!" That's just a good, yeah! Pretty good. So that was kind of made up from Laura Ingraham, but whatever makes you feel better than Ted Cruz.
And I got to say, President, pedophiles.
He said it again? Oh my gosh.
And I got to say, President Trump gave a majestic speech tonight. It was bold, it was optimistic, it was forward-looking, and it was a litany of successes.
A majestic speech tonight, says Ted Cruz. I don't even want to play this, but Tony Dokapil, who's this new CBS anchor and very indicative of this new era of CBS being milquetoast, both sidesism, and MAGA coziness, had this analysis of the speech.
59 p.m. here on the East Coast, the first State of the Union address of Donald J. Trump's second term is in the books. You saw on the wide shot there. Members rushing for the exits. If they hurry, they can maybe make it in front of the cameras and the iPhones in time for their local news and to get the reaction in. It was an extraordinary speech, the longest to a joint session in history, the longest State of the Union in history. In some ways, vintage Trump, combative, populist, historic for other reasons as well. The first part of the speech, all about the economy, an issue we know a lot of Americans want to hear about.
Him lying about what he's done on it. Do you want to add that, Tony? You want to add that? He spoke a lot about the economy and immigration, and it was really vintage Trump. Whatever the heck that means, Tony. This is the same Tony who opened up his primetime show with a "We salute you, Marco Rubio" segment. You're the ultimate Florida man, said Tony. And like a compilation of memes. Marco Rubio's dominating culture because people are making memes of him sitting on a couch in the Oval Office. And then here he describes it as extraordinary and vintage Trump. Then y'all know one of my favorite types of segments, and by favorite I mean most ridiculous, is whenever news anchors walk into a random diner in some place somewhere and go, hi, I'm a Fox News anchor. Today I'm gonna go walk in to a diner and talk to normal people and see what they think.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm at Doug's place here in Emerson, Georgia. What did you think of the speech last night? It was the truth. They told me.
Well, it looked like they were about to make out. That was crazy. That was great. Who's Steve? Steve. What'd you think of the... Hey, regular person, what'd you think of the...
What did you think of the speech last night? It was the...
Wasn't Trump's speech so good?
Truth. They told me the truth. They liked the speech. What'd you think?
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. Here's a table. This guy, aren't these kids supposed to be in school? We've got a little time to get there. All right. What's your favorite part of the speech?
Trump saying how much winning we've done.
Okay. Love that. Also, a big part of the speech.
They're all clapping. Does someone have a gun behind that camera? That was weird. The kid's like, how much winning Trump did? Wow. I don't understand these segments at all. See, America loves Trump. You went into a diner called MAGA World in the middle of a county called Trump has a huge manhood. Obviously, they like him. Now, that's not literally true, but you go pick a really red area. What's insightful about that? I don't know. Abigail Spanberger delivered the response to Trump's State of the Union. I'll just play a little bit.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to historic Williamsburg. We are gathered here in the chambers of the House of Burgesses. In 1705, the people of the Virginia colony gathered here to take on the extraordinary task of governing themselves. Before there was a Declaration of Independence, a Constitution, or a Bill of Rights, there were people in this room. The people who served here ultimately dreamed of what a new nation, unlike anything the world had ever seen, could be. The United States was founded on the idea that ordinary people could reject the unacceptable excesses of poor leadership, band together to demand better of their government, and create a nation that would be an example for the world.
And then she goes on to, respond to what Trump has been saying. I'm going to be honest, despite it being a good response, you can go watch it if you'd like. I literally only played that so that I could show you how a normal politician is able to speak in their State of the Union response, which is, normally with enough moisture in your mouth so that you don't completely lose the ability to speak. And I just wanted to play this Marco Rubio response to Obama.
On foreign policy, America continues to be indispensable to the goal of global liberty, property, and safeguarding human rights. The world is a better place when America is the strongest nation on earth. But we can't remain powerful if we don't have an economy that can afford it. In the short time that I've been here in Washington, nothing has frustrated me more than false choices like the one the president laid out tonight. The choice isn't just between big government or big...
No, we're never going to forget it, Marco. I'm sorry. We salute you, Marco, but we got to keep playing that clip. Then Jim Jordan really wants us to know that Trump's State of the Union was apple pie. Not as American as apple pie, not like apple pie, just that it was apple pie.
Give us your sense of the president's speech last night.
It's apple pie. I mean, you would Congressional Medals of Freedom, Congressional Medals of Honor, Olympic gold medals, Purple Heart. It was as apple pie and patriotic as I've ever seen. The only one that compares, and Kevin and I have been to a lot of these, last night's I think was the best one I've ever been to. But when you go back a few years ago when the First Lady gave Rush the Medal of Freedom, that was a special night as well. But last night I thought was even better. I mean, the hockey team there, it was just, it was as apple pie as you get. And I always say we made...
First...
What? That's not how the phrase goes, man. That's apple. That's like instead of going, that's tight, you just go, apple pie. It's like in How I Met Your Mother. Brian Callen, actually, who acts in that show, does this. Who I, hung out with, or got interviewed by, is a better way to put it. And they kept going, like their characters were kind of douchebags, and anytime something was cool, they would say steak sauce, because steak sauce is good, I guess. And so then that's the new thing, apple pie. You didn't even make it. You're just saying it's quintessentially American. At a State of the Union, the president looking over at the other party and being like, "You're sick people. You should be ashamed of yourself." Apple pie, tight. There's Tommy Tuberville.
So the rest of the story, look, America today is a prosperous country, it's a safe country, and it's a very well-respected country around the world. Don't you think?
Oh, and I'll tell you why. We got the hardest working president ever. He's not getting a lot of help from Congress, either the House or the Senate, Republicans either. We've done a little bit here. We should have done another reconciliation on health care before the first of the year. We didn't do it for some reason. We have another one we can do. All it takes is a little bit of work, but President Trump sleeps about 2 hours a day. He's bound and determined not to just take care of the people, the taxpayers here, but as I said, the rest of the hemisphere, what he did down...
This is so weird. It's weird for a senator to get up there and go, we're barely doing anything, but Trump is really, really crushing it. I like how I think Kudlow has seen us make fun of him for being low energy, because here he really tried to amp it up.
And it's a very well-respected country around the world. Don't you think?
I've been watching Luke's show saying I'm too sleepy. Don't you think? Good job, Larry. You're making progress. Then they did this focus group, which again, this whole concept confuses me. These are swing state voters. Okay, I don't know if they're swing voters, but maybe swing state voters. But sometimes they'll do before or after presidential debates swing voters. Like in the last election, there were voters who didn't know if they were voting for Kamala or Trump yet. And they would do interviews and be like, did that debate change your mind? And they go, I'm just still weighing my options. It's like, you got Trump on one hand, Kamala. Which one do I choose? And I don't understand those people with love. So here, this isn't as bad as the diners, because at least they're presenting it as we brought people in to give their opinion, as opposed to like, we just stumbled into a diner and people were cheering Trump for some reason. But here's some of the clips from that. One of the guys thought this speech was great.
But you said that you enjoyed this speech and that there were moments that moved you. What moved you about this speech?
Well, the celebrating people is always good. But again, that $18 trillion investment, the $25 million in Trump accounts. But I did hear something on the health care, right? We have a law, the Obamacare.
I'll play the rest of it. But here's his accomplishments. 18 trillion investments. That's made up, sir. Do you please tell me you know at least in a ballpark the size of the U.S. economy? Because that really puts into perspective what 18 trillion is. You think more than half of the U.S. economy has been added to the U.S. economy just since Trump got into office. Strange. But that's made up. And then he says something about the Trump accounts. And then he says, I heard something about healthcare, that they're taking it away.
The ACA, and we don't have we don't have a way around it, and it's really just pooled care that's gone up every year. And this most favored nation, he's taken a stab at lowering the cost for us. And unless the legislature acts, he's at least doing something that's going to hit our pocket.
Has it hit your pocketbook? Have you noticed it? Has it worked? That would be my my main follow-up. But yeah, we're going to talk about in the next segment, there is this rhetoric of the ACA has failed, so maybe what Trump is doing is reasonable. Number one, the ACA wasn't enough, but it did slow the increase of premiums and expanded coverage at the same time. So did premiums still continue to go up? Yes, but at a slower pace, and tens of millions of more Americans, are now covered, have health insurance because of it. So not enough, not effective enough, but way better than what is always the Republican alternative, which is, so let's just take it away. It's not working well enough, so let's just take it away. Doesn't exactly track, but some of the other focus group members were not huge fans.
The thing that I missed the most was a focus on the economy and looking forward. And Supreme Court struck the tariffs down, and he's going for another round of tariffs. And I also think that's the wrong direction. Tariffs cost our company a lot of money. Our costs are up, and we need to control our costs. And, without, raising rates, we can't give raises to our employees. We can't help them. So I'm stuck in that kind of vicious cycle of raise the rates, prices go up, raise the rates. And, how do we continue that?
So he didn't help you at all on the tariff stuff at all?
No, we didn't get his answer there, but my assumption is that it is no. And then finally someone called into C-SPAN.
I just want to say, and I mean this in all sincerity, this man is mentally unfit to be president. He doesn't live, everything comes out of some weird thing in his head, but he is not living in reality, honestly. He needs to be impeached.
Well, when it comes to the speech last night specifically, what was your reaction to that?
It's like listening to, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just making up stuff out of hand. I live in the real world. Prices are up. I don't live in his world where whatever he wants it to be, he just...
I like the wording. Number one, he's mentally unfit. Number two, everything he says comes from a weird thing in his brain. Yeah. Or the weird thing that is his brain, I guess, is where stuff comes from. And it all is very confusing. And that's a good way to put it from that voter, that he's living in a different world than the rest of us.